What's going on, everybody? Today I've got a quick review for you. It's an oldie, but still a goodie. Okay, whatever. It's not that old, but I got a request from my biggest fan, Michael, to do this review, so let's do it. As always, a little history before we dive right in. Mario Maker 1 was released on the Wii U towards the end of its lifespan in September of 2015. It was really the game that kind of kept the Wii U alive for the remainder of its life until the Nintendo Switch was released in March of 2017. Mario Maker was absolutely legendary. There was a sort of renaissance with people uploading so much content that it really was the era of Mario Maker on YouTube for quite a long time. And then, alas, the Switch was finally released. And you know what? Mario Maker still lived on. It was the sole reason people kept their Wii U's still on the shelves. But then Mario Maker 2 got released in June of 2019, and we could finally throw this abomination away. With all the craziness that was Mario Maker back on the Wii U, you'd expect that Mario Maker 2 would make the same splash, if not bigger, right?
Well, actually, no.
Yeah, when Mario Maker 2 got released, we had quite a huge boom of play for about a month, and then it sort of died down. I'm not sure what happened. It could have been the fact that Banjo got released on Smash around that time, or maybe just people kind of just lost interest. But yeah, it was quite strange. Not to say it's a bad game at all, because it really is quite a fun game with a ton of content that we'll talk about later. But yeah, kind of strange. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the gameplay.
Gameplay.
If you're a fan of Mario Maker 2 on the Wii U, then you were probably super pleased with how they handled Mario Maker 2. They basically carried over everything from Maker 1 and added a ton of extra content to truly call it a sequel. Adding things like slopes, new enemies, and even a story mode was just extra goodness. We would have been pleased with just a port, as we were actually expecting that to happen due to Nintendo's tendency of porting over Wii U games over to the Switch. But nevertheless, we got a pretty cool sequel instead. There really is not much to talk about in terms of gameplay. Right at the start of the game, you really have two options: make or play. You can make Mario levels or you can play Mario levels. Now at first you might be thinking to yourself, well, that's some pretty weak value for a $60 Switch game. And you know what? You'd be so incredibly wrong. This is probably the absolute best game you could ask for a $60 price tag. Think about it. For $60, you truly have unlimited levels of Mario at your fingertips. Making the levels is just a bonus in my eyes. We've been paying Nintendo full price for their regular Super Mario games, and you only have such a finite amount of content from those. But here, you don't have such a restriction. Now, sadly, this does require a Nintendo Switch Online subscription, but even still, the value is definitely still here. Now, Nintendo recently released their legendary update for Mario Maker 2 just to pile on the content on this already massively induced title. There's probably a card at the top of this video right now where you can check out my live reaction to the Legendary Update stream. The Legendary Update included a new mode called Ninja Speedruns, which are levels made by Nintendo to test your speed and challenge you to complete them in blazing fast speeds. But really the main thing from that Legendary Update that got most people excited was probably the new item, the Master Sword. When you pick it up, you turn into Link from the Legend of Zelda series, and as Link you're able to use a sword, throw bombs, and even shoot arrows. There's so much cool things you can do as Link that I barely can even scratch the surface by telling you about it. It's really cool Nintendo is still supporting this title even a good distance away from its launch. It's a great incentive to get people back into the game and experiment with new tools. One other thing I'd like to mention is that they added a play together function in this update. Now you can have your friends and family join you and play online levels together. It definitely was something I totally didn't know I wanted until I got it. Well, we know the game is packed to the brim with content, but how does it feel and look?
Aesthetics.
Let's not beat around the bush. Visually, Mario Maker 2 looks awesome. As you probably know, you're able to switch between many different Mario game styles, and they all look super cool. My favorite probably has to be the Super Mario World, as that style and game is so nostalgic for me. It absolutely puts any frown upside down. All the music from each game style is revamped and remixed a little, but still holds true to its original games. Now, the controls are probably the only negative thing I have to say about the game. Back on the Wii U, you had a touchscreen on the control pad to make your Mario levels, but for the Switch, if you're playing in docked mode on the TV, you don't get that luxury. You have to use a standard controller to make your levels, which can be quite tedious and take a lot of unnecessary time. Luckily, you can undock your Switch and use the touchscreen on the Switch just like the Wii U gamepad, but it's just a minor gripe in case you did want to play via docked. It might be a weird thing to say, but with how simple the layout is, with just two options on the menu being make and play, really is a good selling point for a title like this. It makes things easy for the user to just pick up the game and get right to what they want, without getting lollygagged by any sort of diversions. Overall, the game looks and feels great, and I don't have too much negative things to talk about.
Overall,
Mario Maker 2 provides that extra oomph of Mario Maker deliciousness we were hoping for on the Switch. With how much fun it was on the Wii U, it most definitely had to be carried over to the Switch. And Nintendo definitely did a great job at doing that. The new features from the base game and even in the update are so grand that I'm super excited to just dive back into the game after a little hiatus and experience all the update has to offer. If I were to base this game on content alone, this would have to be an S tier game, no doubt. But the amount of pullback this game has for me is pretty low. I'll pick it up from time to time, but it just isn't there at the top of my list. It might be one of those games for other people, but not for me. You see, I'm not too much of a creative person making levels, so it's just not my forte. So that's half of the game right there, but even still, playing Mario levels is just oh so fun, and the amount of content like we talked about is unlimited, so giving Mario Maker 2 anything less than an A tier placement would be unacceptable. So that's where I'm gonna place it, right in A tier. It could be an S tier game for many others, but for me, A tier is just right. Have you been enjoying Mario Maker 2? What do you think of the update? I'll hear about it all in the comments below. Shout out to Michael for the suggestion of this video, and until next time, we'll see you later. Peace!